Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan M.S. Pearce. This is a Ukraine war breaking news update. I mean, this broke last night UK time, but I had to sleep. So, oh my goodness, more Tomahawk discussions, more insane 180-degree turns from Donald Trump. It's almost as if Putin phoned Donald Trump to remind him that the Kremlin had compromise on the US president, and Trump suddenly had to pull back into line. That's what it seems like. Anyway, there's been all this talk about Tomahawks. The US president seemed to be quite up for giving Tomahawks to Ukraine. He had even said that, hey, the US has loads of Tomahawks and with no qualification. Then, with Zelensky meeting Trump today, Friday, there was a phone call between, and I don't know who initiated it, whether it was Putin or Trump, but there was a phone call between the two leaders the night before, or the day before Zelensky was to meet with Trump. This is the most perfect time for a telephone call. And then, and I reported on that, Trump gave a True Social post out to the world, which indicated that he had fallen under the spell of Putin yet again. This kind of 2-week taco, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 week. And that seemed to be a new iteration, that Truth Social post of the kind of 2-week Trump. Now, after that phone call, where we had that True Social reading, there was a presser in which Donald Trump really indicated that it was very unlikely that Ukraine was going to get these Tomahawks. Now, we have to do a little bit of inference there, reading between the lines, but remember, this is on the back of some really strong rhetoric at the NATO meeting in Brussels from Pete Hegseth, where you're thinking, okay, the US is sounding pretty robust in their support for Ukraine.
If there's anything we've learned under President Trump, is the active application of peace through strength. Yes. You get peace when you are strong, not when you use strong words or wag your finger. You get it when you have strong and real capabilities that adversaries respect. And I believe that's what NATO is doing. I believe that's what the Pearl Initiative is. So our expectation today is that more countries donate even more, that they purchase even more to provide for Ukraine to bring that conflict to a peaceful conclusion. If there's any...
And obviously a lot of concentration on, hey, lots of people buy stuff from us. I mean, he's even gesticulating in that manner. I mean, the whole thing is about everyone buying stuff off the US. The US is not going to step up and give things to Ukraine. This is all about exploiting, I think, the situation. So, but anyway, nonetheless, Hegseth's rhetoric there paves the way for Tomahawks to be given. There was all this talk about Tomahawks, and Trump was saying as well that, hey, we got lots of Tomahawks. I'm going to be discussing this, decisions going to be made, etc., etc. We had Lavrov ramping up the rhetoric, saying that the supply of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine would cause colossal damage to relations between Russia and the US. So actually, the Russians were starting, because initially Putin's response was a bit meh, a bit like, oh, we can deal with them, yeah, not too worried. And then there was more discussion of escalation. There was more discussion of as you can see here, a damage to the relations between Russia and the US, which I think is an approach that Russia recognized or predicted would have more effect than a bit of nuclear saber rattling. Actually, you want to have economic relations with the Russian Federation, Trump. If you want that, then giving Tomahawks to Ukraine will damage that. You will not be able to talk about trade deals and hydrocarbons dealings with Russia if you provide Tomahawks. So, okay. Then we had Trump coming out in a presser and saying this.
Yeah, please.
What did you tell them about the Tomahawks? Did you discuss the Tomahawk missiles? Did you discuss?
Well, we talked about it a little bit, didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, yeah, please.
So that was not something that he had said previously. He had not qualified that we have a lot of Tomahawks with, but we need them. That was new. And that was last night after the meeting, after the telephone call, with Vladimir Putin. Trump was qualifying his position on Tomahawks. And that to me is an indication that Ukraine is not going to get Tomahawks. As Michael McFaul, the former ambassador to Russia from the US, said, he sounded very different about this issue 24 hours ago. Republicans Against Trump says following his phone call with Trump, Trump now suggests he won't give Ukraine Tomahawks. We need them for the US too. We can't deplete our own supply. So this is not good news for Ukraine.
Well, we talked about it a little bit, didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country. So, they're very vital. They're very powerful. They're very accurate. They're very good, but we need them, too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
I don't know what we can do about that. In other words, I mean, that's as good an indication that Ukraine won't get Tomahawks other than saying explicitly they won't get Tomahawks. I don't know what we can do. We've got a lot, but we need them. We need them too. Don't know what we can do about that. Trump, before talking to Putin, we have a lot of Tomahawks. Trump, after talking to Putin, we don't have enough Tomahawks. And there you go. I know what he has to say. He wants weapons. He would like to have Tomahawks. Everyone would like to have them. We have a lot of Tomahawks, he said, without qualifying it. And then we need Tomahawks. The United States has a lot, but we need them. We can't deplete for our country. We need them too. Again, it's almost as if Putin was phoning to remind Trump as to who had the compromise. Then he's talking about sort of meeting Hungary and doing that within a couple of weeks, or meeting Putin in Hungary.
You spoke about meeting in Hungary with him. Do you have a timeline or a date set for when?
I would say within 2 weeks or so, pretty quick. Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with his counterpart, as you know, Lavrov, and they'll be meeting pretty soon. They're going to set up a time and a place very shortly. Maybe it's already set up. They've already spoken. And I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive. But I'll be meeting with President Putin, and we'll make a determination. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling him about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get...
I thought it was quite interesting as well. When he was on the phone to Putin, he released a Truth Social post saying, I'm still on the phone to Putin. If there has ever been... Again, to use this kind of phraseology, if there's ever been a time when there was an indication that Trump doesn't write his own True Social posts, that was it last night. When he's like, I'm still on the phone to Putin. I'll tell you what's going on with this phone call after it's finished, blah, 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 blah. And you got this True Social post that's like, well, if you're on a phone call, if you're on the phone to Putin, you can't be writing this True Social post. So you don't write your True Social post. This is basically your team around you, your aides. Anyway. I just thought that's something to throw in. Now, Zelensky and the Ukrainian delegation were reportedly caught off guard by Trump's call with Putin, as you can imagine, and the plan to meet in Hungary, especially as the transfer of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine was closer than ever, according to Axios. It seems that no one was expecting this. I would really like to know who initiated that call. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiha said discussing Tomahawk missiles has forced Putin back to dialogue with the US, so trying to sell this as a positive. Russia lost strategic initiative and relies only on terror against Ukraine's energy system, he stated, calling for further decisive steps to end the war. Today's call between US President Donald Trump and Putin demonstrates how even the discussion about Tomahawk missiles had already focused Putin back into dialogue with America. The conclusion is that we need to continue with strong steps. Strength can only can truly create momentum for peace. Russians do not possess any strategic initiative anymore. The only tool they have is terror against our energy system and hopes that winter can become a weapon working in their favor. And that is, I think that's broadly correct, right? I think that is what Russia has, and there is an asymmetry, and that has got me worried. Like, that is all that they've got, but they'll happily use that. They'll happily destroy the crap out of any Ukrainian city that they can. And this is why further strong decisions are so important. They will ensure that Putin has no illusions and has to seek an end to the war. Sufficient strength and determination can bring peace in Europe like they did in the Middle East. So trying to spin this as something of a positive whilst also maintaining that there needs to be strong decisions and something needs to be done about what Russia is doing to Ukraine's energy system. Now, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, in relation to Hungary being the preferred destination for talks, of course, as I said to you last night, this would cause something of a problem given that Hungary are signatories to the Rome Statute, which means they are obliged to arrest anyone with an international criminal court arrest warrant on their heads. Vladimir Putin has an ICC arrest warrant on his head. That means if there is a meeting in Hungary, Hungary would be obliged to arrest Putin. If that doesn't happen, then the whole ICC Rome Statute thing is irrelevant. And I would say the whole thing just falls apart. You might as well rip up the Rome Statute. You might as well claim that the International Criminal Court is completely meaningless. Anyway, following a call with Trump the previous evening, Orban has said that preparations are underway for a Trump-Putin meeting in Budapest, calling Hungary the only pro-peace country in Europe. And again, this lends credibility to Hungary. That Trump would choose Hungary, I think, is a kick in the teeth for the EU. So what Trump has done is he has capitulated to Putin's desires, and at the same time kicked the biggest allies for Ukraine, and technically should be for the US, in the knackers. This is a double whammy, and it shows that Donald Trump cannot be trusted with regard to Russia. This is absolutely horrific. I mean, Greg Terry, he sent me a message last night saying, all caps, what the heck? I predicted it. 2 week Trump is back. Yeah. So again, if you are a Trump supporter and a Ukraine supporter, I don't know how you square those two things. I don't know how you square that circle. That is a circle. That circle appears to be a black hole of morality and geopolitical strategy. Take care. Speak to you soon.